Okay, if you just give me a minute. Hello, can anybody hear me? Hello?
No, can't hear a word.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, that's Marilyn. Marilyn, I don't know who she is anymore. Hello.
Hello.
I miss seeing you guys.
Well, I'd love to see you if you just show your face.
Oh God, you don't want to see me. I've been eating these little mints, these little soft mints by the 2-pound bag. I mean, I look like a soft mint right now.
No, you can't look worse than I do. I'm telling you.
Y'all so funny. I miss you guys.
Yeah, I miss you too.
I do.
Hey, Mike. Hey, Doug.
Hello.
Hello, Doug. I'm gonna send you an email. I'm gonna say tonight, but you might get it tomorrow morning. Or tomorrow. Okay.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so I guess you can hear me now.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Yes, I can. You look dapper. Blue's your color. Brings out the blue in your eyes.
How's that?
Now you look like you're possessed. Possessed.
Oh.
Hey, Darlene's here too, but she ain't talking or showing her face.
Not yet. Maybe she will.
Yeah, she'll talk, I'm sure of that. That's interesting.
Keith's coming. He's just in the other room right now.
Well, we had a lot of people sign up, so hopefully we'll say that they were interested or going to join. So hopefully we'll have a good crowd for Beth.
Well, let me go change some lights. I'm interested because I had an earlier Zoom meeting and the color and the lighting was just fine on me.
Are you cheating on us? Are you cheating on us, Mike McGarry? Are you cheating on us with some other Zoomers?
Yes, I'm afraid.
just checking.
Hey, everybody.
So Darlene says she's not going to show her face.
Yeah, this is Lloyd.
How are you doing, Lloyd?
Well, I'm not showing my face because I've got bedhead. I took a nap because I have a cat who's decided his new toy is popping Venetian blinds all night.
Oh, so you had to take a nap?
Yeah, I had to take a nap because, I was up periodically trying to kill the cat last night.
Well, don't kill the cat.
No.
Well, Darlene, you could speak even if you don't want to show your face. Hint, hint. No.
No, still nothing?
Nothing. She said she's not showing her face. I'm not sure why my audio isn't working, she says.
I don't know either. Y'all know that I'm just lucky to get here on time. And everything's working. She's just a lurker.
Yeah. I can hear it. She says I can hear everybody. Okay.
I have a question.
Sure.
Now that, since we're all online and now that it's 2021, how do we go about paying dues? Because I need to re-up, really. I skipped a year.
Well, we're going to talk about that. We was going to talk about it last night, but I had 3 people decide that they didn't want to join because there was some kind of game on. I'm not real sure what kind, but so anywho, so we're gonna talk about that tomorrow night and see what is the best way to do that.
Some school in Alabama had a football game. I don't
know who it was, but
I might drop a hint. Shades Valley isn't charging dues this year.
Are they not?
No.
Well, we didn't really collect any last year because of COVID started right after our February meeting. So
well, that was what their rationale was. Of course, they don't make me pay dues anyway. I'm the old man of the club.
I'm not that well. Yeah, I am that far behind you. Never mind. You are the old man club.
Well, we're going to talk about it and see what we think's best. I think from my position, Marilyn, is that we're still trying to make some improvements after in some of our web capabilities and that sort of thing. And not that that's the reason we'd charge dues, but I think that we'd be happier with the more productive website and being able to get our artwork out there and be seen for those that do like to participate in galleries and that sort of thing. We've gotten to where, well, I spoke to Warren Simon today, and he's really interested in bringing our club along with whatever ventures that his group has, and some of the galleries and the Montgomery art scene. And so that would be, part of the dues would be to offset some of that, but we'll just discuss it and see how y'all feel about it.
Yeah, what time tomorrow night are we having the board meeting? I forgot.
After my nap. No, I'm gonna fix it here in a minute. We'll be about 7, if that's okay.
Yeah, it is.
Y'all can go ahead and put me down for I'm in favor of paying dues.
You are?
I am.
What about buying me lunch?
I pay dues.
He won't buy me lunch. Well, okay, I'm stuck on my own. I'm gonna have to keep eating those mints.
I'm not doing lunch these days.
I'm not doing it either. I mean, I come home and that's about all I do.
COVID's been good for me on my weight program because I'm having to eat my own cooking. So I eat.
That's
Doesn't help me. I'm a good cook.
Oh.
well, you were going out more, Matt McGarry, for a while there, though. Remember?
Well, I was, but I'm down now. I eat Wednesday nights with Graham Bostic and his wife, and I'll go out a couple nights a week, but I was just counting up what I've got to look forward to this week. Had venison steak last night.
Oh.
I'm just getting tired of cooking.
Yeah.
I start out that way.
Yeah.
I know my mother-in-law got sick and tired of her cooking. Of course, she was 80-some years old. But I think part of that too was she never remembered what she fixed.
Well,
that was sad. But
I see Mara's on. We can't see her or hear her, but she's on.
Hey, Marilyn.
Yeah, we're still letting folks in, so it'll be a few more minutes. There's Beth.
Oh,
hey, can you guys can you hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you, Beth.
Oh, you can't see me though. Let me start my video.
I'm having a bad hair day, so I don't want to be on camera.
Are you in your car? Are you driving back?
No, I'm in
somewhere?
I'm a passenger.
You are?
Yeah.
Did
We're
y'all go
stopping
to
at-
the school? Did y'all go?
No, one of the children has my car, so I had to get picked up.
Oh, don't you love that?
Yeah.
All right, it'll be just a few more
How are you, Beth?
I'm good. I got my house shoes on. I'm relaxed and comfortable, and I got dressed today just for this.
Beth has well become an aviator expert. That's what she's gonna with her little drone. I'm so jealous.
So jealous.
I brought it in here with me. I could demonstrate it, like, in my room.
Yeah, let's fly it around your room and see what happens. We do appreciate you coming to join us tonight.
Well, thanks for asking. I appreciate it.
I gotta see where Keith is. He's disappeared.
Yeah, we got a few more people joining. So do you mind giving us a few minutes?
Take all the time you need. I'm good.
Well, it's Rob, of course, Rob.
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 He's asleep.
Hey, hello. Did somebody mention my name in vain?
We did. We did.
Not yet.
I made it.
We're so happy you did.
Don't sound very convincing, Tina.
I am. I was just trying to get comfortable. I work from this computer. I sit at this computer all day. And then, so now I'm a little OT in this chair. So it's kind of getting a little uncomfortable. So.
Well, all right. Let's see. And there's Miss Beth. I finally found her.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing, I guess.
All
It's
right.
a little chilly.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
at least you're not like Ray. You know how Ray is about the cold.
Yeah, well, no, I'm not that bad.
Has issues.
I like it to some
No.
extent.
Nobody's that bad.
Did you say you made chili or you are chili?
Well, actually, both.
Oh.
Well, wow.
We made chili yesterday. I ate it again tonight.
Awesome.
And it was pretty good both nights.
Fantastic. I was on an earlier meeting and one of the people was from up in Michigan. They weren't cold. They just turned the heat up.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you survive up there.
Yeah. And the snow shovels.
You know, I still have mine. Always wanted to have it bronzed. Put it over the fireplace. But
Well, you can use it back every 20 years here.
yeah, well, actually, I use it to sweep up in the garage and things like that. It's great for sweeping onto.
I think I still have a snow shovel, but I do have 2 or 3 flexible flyer sleds and 1 flying saucer.
From Area 51.
Yeah, well. But it's the old timey aluminum flying saucer. Went very well down the hills.
Yeah.
We got one more person trying to join, so we're going to give it till 7:05, and then we'll start the meeting if that's okay.
Can you count, Tina?
Can I count? No,
Yeah.
My computer has it right here at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Yeah, I know. I may need your help. So, but
18.
yeah, is Keith going to make it?
I just looked at him and he's in the recliner with his mouth hanging open and his eyes closed. So
I doubt it very
I don't know if I
seriously.
should go wake him up. I should go wake him up or not.
That is so funny.
I'm just passing through.
Hey Beth, it's Dory. Dory
Hey,
and
Dory.
Ken are watching.
Hey,
And
Dory.
Ken's with me.
Hey, Beth.
Hey, Ken. How you guys doing?
Doing fine.
How's the book tour coming along?
Well, you know, that's difficult with the pandemic.
I know.
But I think I've signed, to answer your question, I've signed almost 200 copies.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I don't know how well it's selling on Amazon because there's been a problem with people uploading their reviews. And I've inquired about that a few times, but apparently it's still an issue. But thank you for asking. They did a beautiful job with the book. Have you seen it yet?
I've seen the cover because Dory's been fantastic to post.
If you go on Amazon, you can click and it'll show you what a few pages look like.
That's great. I can't wait to actually get my hands on it. And I want to buy a copy, but I'm kind of hoping you'll come up this way soon.
Well, make some sort of an arrangement, and I would love to do that. You know, when my first locomotive book came out, I spoke at the Huntsville Club.
Okay. Well, maybe you'll be up this way again.
I haven't inquired about that or said anything to. I think Roger was the person I talked with.
Yeah, Roger Hunter arranges all the meetings for them, and Charles Gaddis is still the president as far as I know.
Yeah, the problem is the pandemic right now, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But maybe by the summer.
Yeah, maybe. Hopefully.
I'm ready for it to be over myself. So we'd look forward to getting you back here, Ken, also.
Oh, I'd love to come back. I still would like to do the light painting with the group.
I know. We got to figure that out. I
know. I mean, we were ready to go with it, and then this pandemic hit last spring and stopped all that cold.
I know. I'm hoping in just to give it a few more months and this will be behind us. So, and the cold weather. So we get on that. Okay. So I guess we have about, Beth, we have about 19 people. Oh, there's one more. So we have about 20 people, and they're from all over. They're not just with the Trussville Photography Club, which is fantastic. So I'm going to go ahead and if you guys don't mind, just mute your phones. I'll kind of moderate the chat to see if you have any questions. And then Beth, would you like to answer those at the end, or do you want me to kind of interject?
No, I think because we're going to walk through a lot of tools that I use today.
Okay.
So I think a lot of just feedback, whenever you want to ask a question, just unmute, and ask.
Okay, sounds great. And for those that don't know, this is Beth Drake, and she is the original founder of Alabama the Beautiful, which has skyrocketed into lots of different areas of Alabama. So pretty proud of that. And she came to the Trussville photography meeting, and she talked with us about the group and how that originated. Beth is a fantastic organizer. She can get things done, make things happen. But she's also a fantastic photographer. And so I reached out and I said, well, will you come talk on Tuesday night? And she said, well, what would you like me to talk about? Well, she can talk about anything. So I think we finally narrowed it down that Beth goes all over, and she looks for different opportunities to take some landscape photography. Sometimes she just happens upon a location, and others may be planned. So she's going to talk to us about that, and she's going to also walk us through editing process on that. So if you don't mind, just let's welcome Beth and see what she has to share. Okay.
Thank you so much, Tina, for inviting me again. And I appreciate it. I was trying to think when it was that I was there. Has it been like a year and a half, maybe? Almost a year. I can't remember when I was down there, but I really enjoyed meeting everyone, and so many of you I have connections with. We've met before, we've met in person, we've gone to shoot together, or we're friends online, we're friends through Alabama the Beautiful, or maybe friends through some of the other groups that we're all part of. And to me, photography around the state of Alabama is just, we're kind of a family. I mean, I know you guys are part of Trussville, but the people that are up around the Gunnersville area and down along the Gulf, and the folks at the other clubs around you, like Shades Valley and Shelby County, and we're all in Huntsville, the club here in Huntsville. I feel like we all sort of just know each other. We all run in the same circles, and we all go shoot the same things, when we're out in the state trying to find a place to go shoot. So, I hope if any of you are up this way that you let me know that you're coming up this way, because I'd love to go shoot with you. Or if you've got some special thing going on down where you are, let me know. I travel down that way all the time to go shoot. So I'd love to come shoot with some of you, and just have that camaraderie, because I think that's important with all of us. So thanks again for inviting me. So yeah, we talked about what to talk about, and there were a lot of different topics we kind of tossed around. So I think what we decided on was talking about, finding locations. To me, that's all about planning. Has to do with weather, it has to do with timing. And then once you're on the location, maybe you have an idea of where you want to go. But once you get there, your composition comes into play as far as where you're going to set up in that location. What do you want to get as part of your composition? So, you have to be kind of nimble about moving around. And a lot of finding a location is luck, honestly. It has to do with luck of the weather, luck of circumstances that are happening. You may go somewhere and then find out, there's some wildlife down in this corner over here. I was going to shoot here, but now I want to include the wildlife as part of that. So there's a lot of kind of luck that goes into it. I was going to say, one of my friends, I don't know if any of you know Brandy Rocket. She lives out in Colorado now, but she's from Huntsville, or not Huntsville, but from the Gulf area. Her mother lives there. A lot of you know her as well. But we talked about this thing about luck with a location, or luck with a shot, and she's like, there's no luck about it. Some people who aren't into photography kind of think that it's a lucky thing that we wind up somewhere and we got a great sunset, or great sunrise, or the clouds are just perfect. Yeah, we don't have a lot to do with that as far as how that turns out. We know our technical aspects of how to shoot, the artistic aspects to it, but there is still a component of luck with it. So I try to be, just go with the flow as far as the luck is concerned. But what I thought I would do tonight is to let you know kind of how I start with planning, with finding locations, and that for me is not just in the state of Alabama. It's all over. I've been lucky enough to travel some, so I've been able to shoot in locations. Like last year, my family and I were gone for 2 weeks, and we went to Jackson Hole, and we were in Canada, and so a lot of different locations. As far as we were going to these different places, is trying to figure out, okay, I'm going to go to Jackson Hole, so where do I shoot while I'm there? And so I've got some tools that I use, and also in the state of Alabama, I thought we'd just kind of walk through some of those applications and tools that I use, and then talk about, getting more specific with details, like using the photographer's ephemeris, Stellarium, Weather Channel, Google Maps, all of that. And then I thought I would just walk through some of the factors, like once you're on location, about how you go about, determining the timing as far as blue hour, golden hour, and let's see, I've got some notes here. Night skies, daylight for wildlife. I'm going to talk about wildlife a little bit too. That, to me, that's part of landscape. It's kind of a subset of landscape. And then finding your composition. I want to kind of go into details about, once you're on location, is how to go about finding the composition. And then I thought I would walk through just my editing process. How I use Lightroom to edit my photos. And I use Lightroom for the most part, probably 90% to do my editing. So, okay, so let's start. So the first thing I wanted to do, let me share my screen. Now I'm going to turn my video off because I don't want to be like trying to find things and I'm like doing this, everybody does. Okay, you see me do it. They get up close to the camera and it's aggravating. So I'm going to turn off my video. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I'm going to share my whole screen, and it's huge. My monitor is really big, but so I brought up of course, I brought up Alabama the Beautiful, the Facebook page. Can you guys, Tina, can you just respond to me? Let me know. Can you see it okay?
Yeah, it looks good.
Yes, I can. I'm sorry, I was on mute, but yes, we can see it okay.
Okay. So it's not too small or not too giant where it's going off the screen or anything like that? Okay.
No, it's fine.
Okay, good. All right. So when I'm researching places to shoot around the state, guess what is the best resource for that? I'm just gonna say, if I'm gonna go to, I don't know, let's say Prattville, if I could type, there's this search feature inside of our group where you can just search for photos or search for posts that have been posted. So, right away, I start seeing posts from Prattville, from the Christmas tree trail, and, all kinds of places and locations around Prattville, the gin, somebody's backyard, a sunset, in Prattville. So, they start getting specific sometimes, but we don't allow specific addresses or specific locations. So if you're not sure where something's at and you see it on the group, I suggest just message that person, private message the person that posted it and ask them if they can give you, it might be that it's private property and you can't go there. But if it's not, they probably would give you information about where to go to find it. So that's one of the resources, especially, you know, being in the state of Alabama, it's a great resource to find a location. Another thing that I do is I'm going to switch over to my Instagram. If any of you are on Instagram, that's a fantastic place to find locations to shoot. And this is my Instagram page, by the way. I just started doing Instagram in September, so I'm kind of late to the game. But if I were going to go somewhere, hashtagging is the way that people categorize their photos. So I might, you know, if I was going to go to Banff, for instance, in Canada, then I would do hashtag Banff and click on that. And guess what? You know, there's a bunch of resources here that will tell you, you know, places to go shoot, like Lake Louise in Alberta, in Banff. So Instagram's a fantastic place. This is Banff National Park. This happens to be Morant's Curve. I'm going to show you a shot that I have of that myself. So this is another great way, is just Instagram. Another resource that I use a lot is Flickr. And I have an account on Flickr, but you can actually use it without having an account. But let's say I was going to go to Banff. So I just type search for Banff in here. And then, you know, let's say I like this location here with the mountains and the lake. So if I click on it, if the poster that posted it had geo coordinates on their photo when they took it, and you can turn that on and off, you know, with especially with DSLR cameras, there'll be a map that gets uploaded. So if I click on that map in Flickr, I see not only that photograph that was taken and the location of it, the specific location, but then I also see multiple other photos that were taken in a similar area to this photograph. So Flickr is a fantastic resource. Another place that you might want to look, there is a, I'm going to stick this in the chat. Let me do this here. This is just a list of 7 different, keep this, I just put it in the chat. There's a list of 7 sites and apps for researching and scouting photography locations. So there are a lot of different applications that you can use for that. The ones that I've shown you are the ones that I primarily use most of the time, but there are more. So like these 7 are fantastic. Okay, so what I thought I would do next is talk about the photographer's ephemeris. Who uses, does anybody use TPE here? I'm going to switch over to my phone, by the way.
Is that the one that Keith Bozeman uses? Or do you know?
I don't know if he uses it or not. Most photographers that do a lot of sunset, sunrises when they're planning, they use this.
Yeah, I think he mentioned that during his presentation.
Okay. So TPE is, it's another great planning resource. And just to, if he's already gone over it, I'll just kind of hit the highlights on this thing. But if I was
please share it, because
okay.
A lot of folks may not have attended that meeting. So
okay. Can you see my, I'm sharing my phone right now on my screen. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I've already gone into TPE. It's actually, if I bring it up, this little, well, it's hard to tell you, but the one that's the second, on the second row on the far right, the kind of beige background with the blue world and the photographer, TPE. That's what the icon looks like. So you can get it on the Google Play Store or on Apple's App Store as well. So once you open it, this is how it looks. There's a lot of things that you can do with TPE that I don't use necessarily. I primarily use it for pinpointing a location. So let's say I was going to go shoot in Gunnersville. And I was going to go shoot like right, there's a dock right in Gunnersville when you come over the big river bridge at the Tennessee River, really close to the visitor, no, it's not the visitor center. I'm trying to think what the name of that. Anyway, it's really close to Civitan Park, if any of you are familiar with Gunnersville at all. But once you pinpoint a location, so let's say I was going to come like, you know, right here to shoot, then it gives you the direction of the sunset, sunrise, moonrise, sunrise. So you see all of that, and it's color coded. The lines are color coded. So if I was right here in this location where the pin is, I can see that the moon will be setting at 4:27 p.m. And this is my local time, so Central Time, 4:27 p.m. The moon will be setting, and the sun will be setting at 4:56 p.m. And this is today. You can see at the top there, it's Tuesday, January the 12th. So this is today. So this was today, only it's cloudy here, so we couldn't see it. But yeah, so the moon set at 4:27, the sun set at 4:56. And if I have something called Skyfire on here that tries to predict sunsets. So if I click on the sunset, oh, and I can see it's turned off. Hold on. Let me go. Skyfire is an add-on that you can add to TPE. And once you do that, I can like zoom way out. You can see it tries to predict. It's not 100%. It's probably not even maybe 60% accurate, but it gives you a guess of where the sunset might be brilliant or good. And so anything, you know, in the blue area is going to be 50% possibility that there might be some sunset color. When you get into the oranges and then the deep reds, it gets more, you know, likely that there's going to be, you know, a decent sunset that night. So that's what Skyfire tries to do. And so then you have the prediction for sunset, and then you also have a prediction for sunrise. So if I click on sunrise, it also gives me the direction. So this wouldn't be a good spot for sunrise because the sunrise is going to be behind the water. So I'd need to find me a spot, you know, where I might be able to get a decent sunrise, you know, over here somewhere, let's say, if I could get in that area. Okay, if I get in that area, then I'm going to have a pretty decent sunrise coming across the water. And because it's blue, there's like a 50% chance that there'll be a decent sunrise. You know, that was this morning, but I can go out to tomorrow. I can go out to the next day. So like Thursday, for instance, is pretty red. So for sunrise, so there's a possibility there's going to be an amazing sunrise on Thursday, or at least that's what TPE is predicting. So, and then you also see the moonrise time. So sunrise at 6:52 a.m., moonrise at 8:14 a.m. So I use TPE quite a lot to determine where I'm going to go shoot, as far as where should I set up, because, you know, where's the sunset, where's the sunrise going to be, so I can get that in with my shot. Or maybe I don't want to have the sun in my shot, and I'm using it for that. So either way, it's a fantastic resource, and I do recommend that, you know, that you use it, that you download it to your phone. You want to have it on you when you're at the site, you know, so you can try to figure out, you know, where you are, and you know where the sun is going to be rising, for instance, in the morning. It's not always easy to know that when it's dark outside. So if you want to get set up, you know, before the sun comes up, you do want to, you know, look into that. And then another app that I use quite a lot is also Stellarium. If any of you follow anything that I post, you know that I do a lot of night sky stuff. You know, I do a lot of sunrise, sunset, I do a lot of everything really, but I'd love to shoot night sky. So Stellarium helps with determining where the planets are, where the Milky Way is going to be, what the moon phases are going to be. And so I'm just going to take it, and you see that you can't see me right now. I could turn my camera back on, you can see me, but I'm holding my phone up so that I'm moving it around with the directions. So right now I'm pointing west, so I can see, what stars are in the sky and what planets are up there. I think I've got some things turned off. But one of the main reasons that I use it is to determine where the Milky Way is going to be. Can you guys hear me? I kind of got away from my microphone.
Yes, we can hear you, Beth.
So for instance, if I was going to shoot the Milky Way, right now is not the time of the year to do that. So I would want to probably look at March and look at the early morning hours in March. And let me turn it sideways. And so there I see that it's starting to rise in the southeastern sky. You see the south and then the east. I move it around. And there is right there, that misty area up in the sky, that is the Milky Way. So it's around 3:25 a.m. on Friday, March the 12th, the Milky Way will be rising in the sky. And if I move the time out, I can kind of see, like, that's 3:25, 4:30-ish, 5, it starts to get too bright and too light in the sky, you're not going to be able to see it. By the way, recently, with the Christmas star, determining the conjunction and the actual location of that conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, you could do that with stellarium. I was able to stand where I was going to shoot it, and I did shoot it, and know exactly where it was going to be in the sky, because you could just hold your phone up to the sky and it would show you, where is it going to be. So stellarium is a fantastic tool to use if you're doing anything, with the night sky. And then, of course, my trusty Weather Channel app. This seems, it seems like it's so easy that checking the weather is like the first thing that you want to do, but it actually is something I do like every night before I go to bed. I check the weather on the hourly for the Weather Channel app to see, okay, so it looks like it's going to be, clear. There's a possibility of snow. But then at 7 a.m., the sun's going to rise at, well, if I go back to my TPE app, so I go to tomorrow and I look at sunrise, okay, sun's going to rise at 6:52 a.m. Stellarium doesn't seem extremely confident. I don't have any orange or yellow for tomorrow's sunrise. But if I look at the Weather Channel app and I look at my hourly, it's partly cloudy with a little bit of sun. So there's a possibility of, that there might be a sunrise in the morning. So I would get up really early. And by the way, if I go shoot sunrise, I try to get there 45 minutes to an hour before sunrise time. Your best color with sunrise is going to be 30 to 45 minutes before the sunrise time. So don't time it where you're getting there right at sunrise. Time it where you're getting there like an hour before, where you had time to set up and figure out where you're going to be, and then shoot from there. The other thing that I look at on the Weather Channel app is the winds. That's this last column over here. So at 7 a.m., winds are going to be calm. By 9 a.m., 1 mile per hour. So that's great if you're wanting to get, glassy water. So you don't want any wind. You want it to be really calm with no wind. So that's a perfect time to do that. So Weather Channel app, and of course, looking at the daily, I tend to look at the dailies right here, just to look out into the future to see, okay, is there going to be any sun? I personally don't like to shoot in full sun. I'll shoot in full sun if I'm doing wildlife. But outside of that, I want some cloud cover, something to give it some definition. So, the next few days is looking pretty good for some photography trips. Actually, every day up until Tuesday of next week. It's looking really good for that. But you want to look at your hourlies, every day. And that's the first thing I do in the morning. I may set my clock to get up at like 4:30 because I'm thinking I might go shoot sunrise. And I'll look at the hourlies again to see what it's looking like for the next 2 hours. And if it's all cloudy and it's turned into cloud cover, then I might say, I'm going back to bed. But If it's not, if it still looks like it might work out, then I may be getting up and going out. So that's what I'm doing. Okay. All right. So let's see the next thing. Okay. Google Maps. I use my Google Maps like constantly. I mark places where I want to go shoot. You know, I'll put a little marker, for instance, right here, someplace that I know I might want to go shoot, that I've heard about. I save these, you see, when I start going out, I've saved a lot of different places where I've gone to shoot or where I want to go back to shoot again, or I see it when I'm out. If you have an account with your Google account, you can have an account on Google Maps so you can save all this stuff. So I recommend that. The other thing that I recommend about Google Maps is to download your maps. If you're going to be going somewhere that might have bad cell phone coverage and you don't really know if you've never been there. So if I was going to go up into Little River Canyon, you know, up this way, or up on Skyline Mountain or somewhere like that, where I don't know if I'm going to have coverage or not to get to my maps, I'll download the maps. You know, you can do that. Is just download them onto your phone, and you just like, if you've never done that before, I'm trying to think how to do it. Here I am right here in the middle of it, and I'm not sure. Let's see, right here. So if I have a location, so there's a barn, for instance, right there. If I have a location and I want to download the maps there, then it puts a square around the area. But what I do is I go out bigger because I want to have maps for a larger location that are downloaded on my phone, so I'm not dependent on being online. And then I'll just, you know, figure out where I want that map to be and then hit download. And it's 145 megabytes, but it only saves it for, I don't know, a few days. It's maybe a week. I can't remember exactly how long it is, but so before I go off somewhere, when I'm going to be off, you know, out of cell phone coverage area, I'll download the maps. Okay, let's see. Before we jump into kind of the next section that I've got on here, does anybody have any questions? Okay. So the next thing I was going to do was show you a little bit. I wanted to walk through some of the factors, like for your location, you know, and look through some of my images, things about like timing and perspective and all of that. But before I did that, I wanted to show you on Alabama the Beautiful. Let me just go back. A lot of these things that I'm just going to cover are in Alabama the Beautiful and something we call learning units. So there's one actual learning unit item out there, and I'll put this in the, I'll put it in the chat. So it's just a photography basic principles thing that I wrote up, like, I don't know how long ago it was, maybe a couple years ago, where I go over a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about in more detail right now. But I've had a lot of people say that they appreciated that, so I will copy that and let's see. Maybe I'll just stick it in the chat. Okay, so now you've got the learning unit thing. Just another couple things I was going to say as far as learning stuff. Just, you know, not really about location stuff, but if you guys have ever done any training on Creative Live, I really recommend that. It's got some fantastic classes, and you can buy a subscription and, you know, just keep watching classes. And so I have a subscription. I'm constantly watching stuff on Creative Live. Lynda.com has a lot of great photography stuff. And of course, you can find multitudes of great classes on YouTube as well. Some of them are free. Or you just find some photographer who does, you know, impromptu training videos, and they have a, you know, you just subscribe to them and follow them and listen to their training. And that's fantastic too. Okay, so what I thought I would do is just walk through some of these kind of the factors once you're on location. Just a note about my gear and what I use. I have a Canon 5D Mark IV. That's my primary camera that I use, my full frame camera, a variety of lenses that I use with that. I also shoot with my iPhone. I have an iPhone 11 Pro. And you're going to see some of these shots I'm going to show you are from my iPhone, and I'll tell you. And then I just got, Tina was mentioning, I just got a drone. I got it for Christmas, and so I'm loving it. It's a DJI Mavic Air 2, and I'll have some shots for that I can show you too. So let me go over. I put some shots in my SmugMug account. I use SmugMug, and so I stuck some in a gallery just for tonight, so we could walk through these. Can you see these? You guys, can you see the first shot that's on here, the one at the beach with the moon? Just look okay. You see the camera? You see the camera info to the left? Okay. All right. So in SmugMug, I have mine set up where my camera info is displayed. I don't think everybody does that with a SmugMug account, but I do. So, you know, as we're walking through them, you're going to see my gear that I'm using. On the left-hand side, you know, what lens I was using, focal length, aperture, exposure time, my ISO. So, you know, if you have any questions about any of that, just let me know. So I thought we'd talk a little bit about timing of shots at locations. You know, we talked about TPE as far as figuring out what that timing should be. And so I thought we would just walk through some of my shots that I've done that are like blue hour, for instance. You know, blue hour is the 1 hour before sunrise or the 1 hour after sunset. And I personally, I'd love to shoot at blue hour. So this one in particular is at Orange Beach. This one was the sunrise was coming up in the east and the moon was setting in the west. So this was the moon setting during blue hour. And, you know, it was just starting to set and sunrise hadn't started coming up yet. So it was still considered blue hour. And I managed to get this shot here. Let's see, my cursor is playing havoc with me. I can't find it. There it is. Okay. Oh, there. Okay. And then here is a blue hour of Bayou La Batre at sunset. And this is on the drawbridge, the shaky little drawbridge. And you can see this is a 0.8 second exposure. And that was kind of hard to do because the people were driving across the drawbridge and, you know, the bridge was shaking. But I did manage to get this one, a few actually that weren't blurry. And so this is another blue hour. That's with the Canon. This is a new shot that I just did recently with the drone. It has a 24mm lens on it, and this one was at f2.8, and it's a 4.5mm as far as the focal length. A lot of this is like unknown to you when you're shooting because it doesn't tell you all. It's kind of like a cell phone where it doesn't tell you all of its settings that it's using. You have control with the drone that I have control over my ISO and my exposure time. And everything else is kind of automatically done. I don't even have control over the aperture, which I don't like. But I think if you go up to the next model, you get control of the aperture. And so I probably would like that. But here's as far as time is concerned, this is another blue hour shot for sunrise before the sun came up. And another drone shot that I did, this one is actually a 2.5 second exposure during blue hour at Honeycomb, which is really not very far from my house, maybe 15-20 minutes from my house. This is part of Lake Guntersville, but I, you know, got the streaks of the traffic going, rush hour traffic going into Huntsville from Guntersville during blue hour. And then let's see. This is a cell phone shot. I shot this actually with my Canon, with my 5D Mark IV multiple times. And when I was looking at the shots, I actually liked this one off of my iPhone better than I liked my full frame camera shots. So this is the one that I went with and loaded up on my SmugMug. But yeah, this is a nighttime shot, and you know, after sunset when everything looked blue and it was snowy, so the blue really kind of looked pretty good, I think. A half-second exposure on that. And then this one is Shark Creek Falls. This is prior to sunrise, and you can kind of see right here that the sun is getting really close to coming up, but technically that's still blue hour. So you know, and the sky was very pink. There was a group of us that walked down into Shark Creek Falls. This is on private property and had permission to go in there. And there was quite a large group of us that went down in there that morning, and the sky just exploded pink, and we were shocked, you know, that it was perfect. But blue hour again. Okay. And then let's see, I thought I would go into some golden hour shots. So golden hour is 1 hour after sunrise or before sunset, you know, when the sun is in the sky or has just appeared in the sky. This is another drone shot. This is the Red Mill, if any of you have been there in Asbury, up close to, it's not far from Lake Guntersville State Park. And this was shot right after sunrise. And you can see this is almost a half-second exposure with the drone, which I've been, you know, pretty pleased that I can get longer exposures with the drone. And this was one of those. And then this is with my Canon 5D Mark IV, the golden hour with the sand hills. This is sunset before the sun was setting, and all the beautiful color kind of coming through the trees, and they caught on the, you know, with the sand hills with their wings, so they look golden, but it's really just the sun coming through there. I did that another time at Honeycomb with the gulls at Honeycomb, and you know, this was a sunrise shot right after sunrise when, you know, it was really golden and caught the sun coming through their wings there too. So I'd love to shoot at blue hour and golden hour. You know, pretty much I'm shooting everything between those two times or night sky, which is the next thing I wanted to show you. So for my night sky locations, you know, I talked about using stellarium to figure out, you know, where to go shoot, and, you know, what stars are going to be in the sky, or what constellations, or where the Milky Way is going to be, and all of that. So that's how I figured out on this one. I'm typically doing 15 to 30-second exposures when I'm shooting the night sky. This is the mountains in Banff in Canada. And one trick that I've found when I'm doing night sky, when it's really dark and I'm trying to get a composition, is to bump your ISO way up high, like 34,000 or however high it'll go. Just bump it way up there and blow out your first shot as a test shot, because you're going to see everything when you do that. You're going to see, you know, all the mountains and where they are, and you can kind of get your composition just based off of that really, you know, extremely overexposed shot. So you can figure out what your composition is going to be, and then put it back down where you need it to be. You know, typically when you're shooting night sky, you're going to be doing, and this one is a 21-second exposure here. The aperture is going to be wide open. And then you know, typically want to shoot with a wide angle lens. I do a lot of Milky Ways. Let's see here. So this one is one that I did in Fort Morgan, another 21-second exposure with the Canon 16 millimeter on the focal length, and the aperture again wide open. So typically, if you go over 20 seconds with stars, unless you want them to streak, if you want to get them, you know, pinpoint focus, you want to stay at around 20 seconds. This is one that I did in Grand Teton, 20 seconds again. One that I have, and I was going to switch back over because I couldn't find it on my Smug Mug that I wanted to show you. Let me see. Let me switch back to my phone. This is on my Instagram, and I had brought it up before the call started. this is my star trails that I did at Chiaha back in the summer. And these are 30-second exposures, but it's 100 and around, I can't remember the exact number, it's around 150 exposures at 30 seconds each. And I used my intervalometer, which is built in on my camera. You may have to buy one extra for your camera. And then you stack them. You process all your shots. What I do is I process one and then copy it to all the others. And then I stack this using an application called Star Stacks. You know, that gives me the look and feel of the stars moving. And of course I was pointed at Polaris. So I've got Polaris in the center here and the stars moving around it. This is Chiaha looking toward Oxford, Alabama. So, you know, night sky is something that I really enjoy doing. Okay, and then I was going to go back to talk about daylight a little bit as far as timing and location for daylight. Because really the only thing that I really love to shoot in the bright sunny day is wildlife. And so with wildlife, I shoot typically, this is a really slow exposure time for wildlife, but the macaws, this was in Honduras, the macaws are actually still, you know, they were in a rescue area and they were sitting still. So I could shoot at a, you know, a slower exposure time. Typically when I'm shooting wildlife out in the wild, I'm shooting at 1/1250th of a second to start with anyway. I typically put my ISO at auto or, you know, up high, and my aperture is going to be low. So, you know, that's what I'm doing. This time I was using a kind of a short telephoto lens that I have, a 70-300 on my Canon. But, you know, to get the detail that you need to get with wildlife, you really want a bright sunny day is perfect for wildlife to get that detail. This is another one that I got in Yellowstone last year, actually. I was using my Sigma 150 to 600 millimeter. This is all the way out at 600 millimeters. This is more my typical exposure time that I tend to use, 1/1250. So, you know, again, that's typically where I start with them. And let's see what else I have on here. This is in Badlands, South Dakota. I shot this last year. You know, I was pretty close to the subject here, this bighorn sheep, and but you know, and he wasn't moving, so I was able to, you know, slow up my exposure time a little bit more here, and only out 435 millimeters on the focal length. So, you know, not too far away. But again, a bright sunny day with lots of details. And then I have a couple more. This one is in Fort Morgan. He was just sitting on this post at the Fort Morgan ferry, the ferry that goes over to Dolphin Island. So he was sitting still, so I was able to slow my exposure time down a little bit. Well, actually, no, it looks like I was up at 1600ths of a second, but I did shoot some that were slower than that, I think, that were just sitting still. But again, bright sunny day, lots of details. Okay. And this one, the Gulf State Park alligator, you know, I was all the way out. Well, actually, he was pretty close to me. I got 374 millimeters on the focal length, but, you know, and the exposure time is really fast on this one, 1/2500ths of a second. And the ISO was up to 640 because I had it set at auto ISO. Okay, so what I thought I would talk about a little bit now is finding the composition, like with perspective, you know, as far as going up high or going low. And the drone has really helped me with getting some perspectives I've never been able to get before. This one I actually just got like a couple, 3-4 days ago. I forget exactly when it was. I just posted it recently. This is with the drone. I shot this at Sharp Creek Falls, getting down really, really low in an area I would not have been able to get into with my camera at all. It was, you know, right in the middle of the rapids. And I was able to put that drone down there and get a very low perspective. So, you know, perspective is something that I think that, you know, we don't think about as much because we want to try to get in our location and just get that landscape and get that great shot. But if you can get down really low or you can get up high, sometimes it's a much better shot. So I was just going to show you a few here. This is Hayes Preserve, close to where I live, but I was down really close to the water. This is shot with my Canon, but I was down really close to the water so I could get the landscape with the, you know, the sky and the reflection in the water, you know, down close to the water. Almost looks like I'm in the water, doesn't it, from here? And then here, this is a little overlook that we just recently opened in Huntsville that's like 5 minutes from my house. And this is up high. This is from the overlook. This is over Cecil, Ashburn, the clouds over Huntsville. And then here's one that I took with my cell phone in Orange Beach of the waves down really, really low. And then here's one I just took a couple of days ago of the snow with the drone up high, you know, from Montesano. So that perspective is something that I really love to play with and try to figure out. And then rule of thirds is, you know, another thing that you have to really consider when you're out shooting on your location is where are you going to put your subject? And, you know, I tend to, most of the time I'm doing rule of thirds when I'm shooting. So you see I've got the barn here kind of on the left third, up in the thirds on the top and to the left. And then this one was not too long ago, actually, the, you know, biker. This is one of those luck things. A lot of these shots that I haven't even mentioned have been like something happened that was just pure luck at the location. And this is one of those with the biker coming around. This is Bankhead Parkway in Huntsville up on Montesano. And then this one was really luck. This is in Banff. This is Morant's Curve. And this is the train coming through Morant's Curve. I had no idea this was even here. We were driving through this area and there was a little overlook. I was like, oh my gosh, that's Morant's Curve. I didn't even know where I was. We went to Canada last minute and I didn't plan anything. And so we were at this kind of iconic photographic location and I didn't even know that we were going to be there. So I had no idea what the train schedules were. You know, if you're really planning, you're going to figure out what the train schedules are. I had no idea. And so I ran down with my camera, with my tripod, you know, to get set up to shoot. And then the train comes through, and a little secret with this, the train didn't come through this way. The train came from the other direction. This is the back of the train. This is a locomotive on the back. It's actually traveling away from me. And nobody really knows that because it doesn't look like it. It doesn't have any lights on it. Maybe that's a clue.
Ken Boyd does know that that's not the front, but that's the back.
He would know.
I'm just saying, I mean, Ken would know.
Probably so. But another little secret about this, I had, when the train came through, I had no idea it was coming, and I heard it, and I was like, I had no time to change my lens out or anything. And I didn't have, you know, I've got an 81 millimeter focal length. I had a 70 to 300 here. I didn't have a wide lens so I could get a wide landscape. So what I was doing was I was shooting with my cell phone as well as my camera. And I got this wide view with my cell phone, and I got the close-up view, the one we just saw, with my camera. And I wanted this wide view with the train coming through there. So I did a composite on this, which is something I rarely ever do. I've done composites like this 3 or 4 times total ever. And I did a composite, and I took that train out of that first shot and put that train in this shot because I wanted it in that wide view like that. So, you know, I'm being honest, and I'm telling you that I did that for this particular wide view shot. So that was pretty cool, but still it's kind of, you know, rule of thirds, at least the original shot was. And then I have some where I'm thinking about the depth, the foreground, the middle ground, the background. And I think of my photos in layers. Like if you use Photoshop, you know, and you use layers in Photoshop to layer things together, I tend to think of my photographs that way. I want to think about, okay, what's in the foreground? Well, these trees here, the trains in the middle ground, the mountains are in the background. I paint, so that's probably why I think that way. But in photography, that gives me some options to do some other kind of technical things like focus stacking. This is a focus stack here. This is two different images that are blended together. The foreground leaves up here are one image where I focus specifically on the foreground leaves. And then on the second image, I focus specifically on the covered bridge. And then I blended these together in Photoshop. So this is a focus stack. I did something similar to this with an exposure stack in Little River Canyon for the Milky Way, where I exposed for the foreground, excuse me, with the, you know, the foreground and some of the trees in the mountain, because I had a higher exposure, a higher ISO for that. And then I have a separate image. It was taken at the same, you know, these were taken back to back, so there's just a few seconds between them. But in one case, I exposed for exposed light for the foreground, and then the second time I exposed for the dark sky. And then I blended these two together in Photoshop so that I have an exposure stack. And then leading lines. So here's some shots where I'm doing leading lines with the marina. This is in Guntersville. This is actually a bracketed shot. I shoot in brackets a lot. Typically, if I'm doing landscapes, I'm doing 3 brackets, 2 stops apart. This is actually a 6-image merge for an HDR merge on this image. So it was, I exposed it 2 different ways with 2 shots that were bracketed for 3 shots each. So anyway, I ended up with 6 images stacked together. And this one is leading lines for Morgan Cove and Big Spring Park with a bridge with leading lines. So I try to do a lot of like leading lines, rule of thirds, that kind of thing. And these are all things, you know, you have to think about when you're on a location trying to shoot. So, okay, Tina, I don't know if we have time for anything with my editing process or not. What do you think?
Well, I think that we've been so interested in your presentation so far. Would you be interested in coming back and showing us some editing?
I could do that. Yep.
Would that be okay? Because it's 8 o'clock, so usually we stop about here. So how about we invite you back maybe in a couple of weeks, and you can take us through the editing process. Is that okay?
Okay. That sounds great.
Okay, that's the great thing about Zoom, is that you're not restricted to a face-to-face meeting, and we have more opportunity to have you join us. So is everyone okay with that? Would y'all be receptive
That sounds good. Yeah. I had a question for Beth.
Sure.
Hey, Beth, this is Bob Quarles.
Hey.
Your pictures are beautiful.
Thank you.
This picture on the screen with the red bridge.
Yep.
How did you do that?
This is, well, you see, I shot this with my iPhone.
Uh-huh.
And if I go over to my phone right here.
Oh, it's got a utility you can use?
I use Lightroom.
Oh.
So that is a, let me go back and see what the date is on that photo. Let's see, that was, is there a date? Oh yeah, December 10th last year. So this was with Lightroom on my phone. I use Lightroom Mobile just like I use it on my desktop. And okay. So this is what I did with that, is that with Lightroom Mobile, you can desaturate all the colors, you know, any of the colors. So what I did was I desaturated all the colors except red. And so that gave me a black and white shot, you know, with the red bridge.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Thank you. It snowed. We had a snow dusting that day, so.
I want a dusting, a snow dusting. Does anybody else have any questions that they would like to ask Beth? Anybody have any ideas that you'd like for her to bring back to the table next time?
Hi, Beth. I'm Pat Dorch.
Hi, Pat.
Hi. I have a question about the drone. How do you know how many seconds, like with that water shot that you got down real low? And you said, I think it was like 4 seconds or 4/10 of a second. How with the drone, how do you know how many seconds?
So it's really good when you have that drone out, you use an application with it. And so my phone, that shot, I think the one you're talking about.
Right, right.
My phone is connected to the drone. It has a remote control. I wish I had it with me. I think it's in another room, but it has a little remote control that controls the drone, and the phone connects to it. And actually, you know, there's a connector to connect the two. And with the application on the phone, you're actually looking at the shot on your phone. And as you're adjusting things like the exposure time, it shows you what it's going to look like when you snap that shot. So, you know, it gets lighter, it gets darker. So what I was trying to do was you can see I upped my ISO to 200 because I knew I wanted at least, because like when you're shooting waterfalls, I try to shoot around a half second between like, you know, this is like 0.3. So a third of a second to a second is as much as I'm going to go on a waterfall, because I'm trying to get more silk. And I didn't get a huge amount. I got some right here in the back and some on the sides right here. And less of this kind of, I hear people call it milkshakey waterfalls. But yeah, I mean, I ended up going with a third. So I kind of know like how much time I need to expose for to get waterfalls the way I want to get them. And so what I was doing was playing with the ISO in order to get my exposure right, you know, the light.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Beth, Zach has a question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Zach, do you want me to ask, or do you want to ask? Well, I'll go ahead. I'll go ahead and ask. He typed, when planning a shot location, do you ever take a mobile shot with Google Maps for exact location? Is that what that's what you were showing us on the Google Maps? Is that correct? Or is that a little bit different?
On Google Maps, what I was showing more that people have uploaded their shots there. Sometimes I look at that, but typically they're not that great. So, but you can see if people have shot there, so you can kind of see what their perspective was. As far as me uploading to Google Maps, I've done that a couple of times. Recently, actually, I did that. Typically, I don't. I should probably do it more, but I don't.
Okay. Did someone else have a question?
Yeah, I've got one. This is Lloyd O'Daniel. Beth, on your night sky stuff, particularly where you have a city in the background, city lights, are you doing anything like the Astro guys do, like using a light pollution filter or doing dark frames or any of that stuff?
No. Let me see if I can find one. I'm trying to remember where I had one of those. I don't. I mean, I know a lot of people stack like Milky Ways and stuff like that, where they're stacking to get more detail. But there's one right there, I guess. So with this one, it's a 20-second. So what I'm typically doing is I am setting my focus for infinity. And if you don't know how to do that, you know, you want to point to a light, like a star or light that's in the far distance, and then zoom in like 10 times on your live view on the back of your camera and get that as small as you can get it. That light needs to be as small as you can get it. That'll be focus. And that's all I'm doing really is I'm focusing. For this one, I was able to keep my ISO up to 100, but that ISO, you really have to play with that, because if you're out in an area that has no light, this had city lights. So I was able to keep my ISO, you know, at 100. And typically when you're shooting with city lights, just kind of like you're shooting the moon. If you've got something that's really bright like that, you're going to keep your ISO low. But no, I did not stack this. It was a single image. The clouds are wispy looking because it's a 20-second exposure and the clouds were moving.
There was another shot you had that had a city and then black sky above it with stars. And when I was trying to shoot the comet, I found out real quick here that I had to do heavy editing on the sky to keep the sky from being gray, to get the black in the sky because of the pollution from the lights emanating from the ground. You know, east of the Mississippi, we have a lot of light pollution everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
You know, out west, they've got it made. You get outside of a city and it's pitch black.
Yeah.
But there was another shot you had that it looked really good. Unless you heavily edited the sky down, it looked really good.
Are you talking about one that I just showed?
Well, it was during the program. It wasn't.
Maybe it was this one here with the Milky Way.
I remember seeing a city with an orange glow, and then there were stars above it with a black sky.
Okay.
And it just looked really clean. So I was wondering if you were filtering out or doing anything to achieve.
Now, I'm gonna edit. Like when I'm working on my stuff, I'm gonna edit it and make it clean. I was gonna show.
Maybe you did it with a grad and just toned it down in Lightroom.
For instance, here's one. This is on my Instagram, so I apologize. It's just easy for me to find it here. This is one that I did, you know, with the Christmas star, you know, that night. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty heavily edited to clean it up. Because I had the, you know, and then let's see, I've got something else. I'm trying to remember.
I think it was the one I was referring to, I believe just passed. It was on the right-hand column. No.
This one with the Milky Way?
No, it's below that.
Oh. I'm sorry. I don't know.
Well, we'll figure it out. But
here's another one that I did that you know, it's pretty heavily edited too. Neowise with a little bit of light, you know, in the foreground here. You know, I didn't do
local.
Was that what? I'm sorry.
Local.
Yeah, I mean, I took this at Lake Guntersville and at the state park, but this is not a composite. I mean, I know some people did Neowise and they kind of put the they put the comet over their image and made it bigger or whatever. I didn't do that. What I did do though was to clean up because there was a lot of noise in the sky here, and I like to use the luminance. If you use not Photoshop, but I use Lightroom mostly.
Yeah, I do too.
I use luminance, you know, to increase the luminance so I can get rid of a lot of the noise in the sky. And then I did boost the light on the comet so that it, you know, you can see it better.
Trail, yeah.
Yeah, and I'll do stuff like that. But you're right. I mean, you're going to end up with some noise, and you've got to clean that up. Now, if you stack them, at night sky stuff, and I know a lot of people that do this, I just don't typically do it because I'm lazy. But if you stack your shots, you know, shoot multiples and stack them together with a stacker application, then, you know, you'll have less noise and more detail.
Yeah, right. Thank you. It was great work you showed tonight.
Thank you so much. Anything else, Ms. Tina?
Does anybody else have any questions, comments, or anything that you'd like to share real quick before we end the meeting?
Beth, this is Pat again.
Hey, Pat.
When you go out, like the Guntersville State Park or any of these locations, like when it's dark out, are you out there by yourself or like your hubby coming along or a friend?
Somebody always has to ask this question. I shoot with people and I shoot alone. I have been
Yeah.
out in the, in the dark of night, like where's this one right here? Out on the beach after, like 10, 11 o'clock at night, shooting by myself. I go shoot by myself a lot. So
Yeah.
Pat,
That's-
she's spunky. She took me and Marilyn on the side of a cliff, and she just kept going. I just kept going. Go ahead.
That's the shot I was referring to right there.
this one, okay, yeah, this is, so you can see there's some noise here, but this is a single exposure. And I don't have the details of it right now because this is just on Instagram, but this is the lights you see there. They're not city lights. Those are oil rig lights. And that's the steam coming up off the oil rigs. This is in Fort Morgan.
It's beautiful. Well, we will get Beth scheduled again. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry, Lloyd.
No, I just said I was agreeing with you that it's beautiful.
Yeah, we'll get Beth scheduled again, and we'll have her come back and show us some of her editing and how she cleans up the noise. Beth, we appreciate you taking the time out to share with us your beautiful photography. And if you guys haven't joined Alabama the Beautiful or Trussville Photography Club, just follow us. I think you'll like it, or follow Alabama the Beautiful. It does have some amazing work. So we'll just set you up and we'll let everybody know when you're ready to come back. Okay?
Okay, sounds great. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you.